I'm sharing with you guys an organization I've been working with for the past few months, and it's called the Little Falls Watershed Alliance. And so, Little Falls Watershed is actually so first of all, you have to know what a watershed is. So, watershed is actually a slope or a branch that all the rainwater and all the water they just flow into that shed, and then so it's called a branch. So a branch is actually a creek. It's not a slope. So it's actually the Rock Creek is actually one of the branches that goes into the Potomac River in Maryland. So this watershed alliance helps to protect this creek or the branch in many different ways. So they restore the habitat and they clear out the trash in the forests. They also do water bacteria monitoring at Glen Echo, Wooded Park, and they do we clear out the invasive species at the Capitol Crescent Trail. So they do a lot of things to protect the watershed and the water that flows into the Potomac River. And there's actually more than 40 different volunteer activities that you can sign up. So I've copied their website on this page, on this presentation page, that you can, if you're interested in protecting the environment and going to nature, working with others, you can just try this out. And we'll move on to, I'll be sharing with you guys what I've been doing. I'm actually not a staff member. I'm just helping to promote this program and share with you guys what we've been doing in the past few months. So actually, first of all, I'll share with you some pictures of me working with this alliance. So these pictures were taken at Glen Echo and the Capitol Crescent Trail. And if you happen to be a biker or a hiker that often goes on the Capitol Crescent Trail, you'll find us working on Sundays or Saturdays, clearing out all the bushes and vines on the side of the road. So that's us, that's the Little Falls Watershed Alliance. And we've been clearing this Capitol Crescent Trail for 1.5 years. And we're just moving down the hill from the moving down this trail from the entrance all the way to the end, and we've been working till the middle right now. So our main work is to clear out the invasive Japanese honeysuckles. So these are the trees that you can see me holding on the left side. So I've just finished my work cutting down this tree and opening a clearing. So the clearing you can see on the right side, on the right photo. It's actually a clearing that we made when we first came here. It was all crumpled up with these honeysuckle trees and porcelain bearing vines. So I'll get you to know what porcelain bearing vines and what are honeysuckles later. And so this tree that I'm leading on to on the right is actually the trees we have saved. So these are native maple trees. They grow here, but they're tangled up with all of these vines, and they don't get enough sunlight because of the trees, of the honeysuckle trees. So it's actually really good work. And for this program, there are several reasons why you should be interested, or you'll get interested in it. And first of all is protecting the environment and working in nature, if you really, if you're really interested in that. And you get the chance to work in the forest, which is actually really cool because you get to see a lot of green. And the second part that I enjoyed the most is working with my partners, working with people from my community. And you can see this gentleman right here in the picture is helping me, holding on to honeysuckle tree that I'm trying to salt down. And actually, there are lots of programs in this alliance, and one is called Weed Warring, and you have to get a certificate to become a weed warrior, and I happen to be on one of those work days, and I can show you a video of me working with a weed warrior on my work days. This is the video, and yeah, this is all on Zoom, so let's watch this.
Okay, go down a little bit further so you can get it perpendicular to the,
Okay.
yeah,
Like this.
yeah. And then use your best. Yeah, oh, great, good. So,
Yeah, and that's working with a weed warrior who has a level 2 certificate. And if you're interested in becoming a weed warrior, go on the website I just posted earlier and you can get a certificate. And we've been cutting out vines, porcelain berry vines, oriental bittersweet vines, which are all non-native invasive plants to this area. And there are lots of techniques to deal with these vines, but for today I'll be sharing with you how to identify these non-native invasive plants, which we call as NNIs. Okay, I'll share my screen. Okay, so this is the Japanese honeysuckle. I'll move my icon over here. And actually, you can see there's a lot of ways to identify this honeysuckle. So first of all is the bark that I posted, the picture right here. And you can see the bark, it has these really straight lines on them. So it's actually vertical lines that are on these barks. So they run smoothly and straightly from the bottom to the top. And sometimes you mess the bark up with another kind of plant and called dogwood. The dogwood trees are native to this area, so you have to identify both of them. You have to figure out which one is which, so you don't cut the native plants out. So one really significant way to identify the Japanese honeysuckle is by cutting one of the vines or one of the branches off. And actually, you can see, we'll look to this first. So the first way is to see the flowers. So these Japanese honeysuckle trees, they bloom in early spring and they last till summer, and then the flowers just die out. So if you're in spring, look out for these trees. They look really beautiful because they have these really colored flowers and petals on them. So that's one of the ways why these non-native invasive plants can thrive in our area, because they have really distinct features, really colored features. So they attract the bees and the butterflies to pollinate them, and that's how they spread. So it's really beautiful, but they're dangerous to the native plants around them. So actually, what you can see in this picture is the honeysuckle has really dense branches, and they have really huge canopies. So they actually block a lot of sunlight down, and they cover lots and lots of spaces. And for these like medium height trees, the porcelain berry vines and oriental bittersweet vines, they love crawling onto these trees. So what happens is it creates a gigantic canopy of these non-native invasive plants, and they just cover all the air, all the oxygen, and all of the sunlight away from those underbushes, such as the dogwood trees and the native plants that are living in this area. And actually, these trees, you can see you can identify these trees by looking at their bark and their pith. So the bark, as you can see from the left, they're really straight lines from the bottom to the top. They run really smoothly. And actually, another way is looking at how they grow out of the soil, out of the ground. So they grow like bushes. They just submerge from the ground in really dense packs. I mean, you get the idea from this picture. It's not like a single tree trunk. It has lots and lots of trunks coming out from the ground. And that's how you identify them from the outside. But sometimes you just encounter one branch coming out. And then it's time to look at the pith. A pith is when you cut a branch or just a twig off this tree. You can see from the right picture, I've pointed the pith out with an arrow so that you can get a better understanding of it. So, as you can see, I'm holding 3 different twigs in my hand. And I'll go from the left one to the right one. So, on the far left one, you can see the pith is actually milky white. The pith is actually, so it's actually the centered dot. So that's the pith. And that is actually a porcelain berry. And porcelain berries are non-native invasive species as well. So they're called porcelain berries because they come from China. And these porcelain berries, so they're actually a kind of vine, and they tangle on these trees, no matter if they're native or non-native. They just tangle up and grow. And as for the twig in the middle, it has a brown pith. So that is a native grapevine. So people always mess up with is this an oriental bittersweet? Is this an porcelain berry? Is this a grapevine? They always mess up. And grapevines. So the best way to figure out is to cut a little sample from it, and then you see if that pith is brown. If it is brown, it's a native grapevine. You just have to leave it alone because they're native. And if you see it's milky white, and that's a porcelain berry, you have to cut it out. And for the branch that is on the right, it has you see it as brown, but it's actually not brown. It's actually hollow. So with a hollow pith, it's actually the thing we're talking about. It's actually the Japanese honeysuckle. And no matter if you like get the thickest trunk, you saw it open, it's actually hollow in the middle. You get a branch, you cut it, it's hollow in the middle. That's how you identify a Japanese honeysuckle. And this is so there are lots of ways to deal with these Japanese honeysuckle trees. And one is the most efficient way is to let me get my screen shared with you. Should be right here. Yeah, this one. I don't know if you can see it or not, but let's see. Yeah, this one. Okay. So this is actually one of the ways we clear out these honeysuckle trees, by sawing them. So you want to saw them knee high, because there are people using these levers or pullers. They have to pull the roots out of the soil so that it doesn't grow back. But if you like cut really low, saw really low, these people cannot see that you've left a work for them, a job for them to do. So you just cut it knee high. And I'll show you how we saw this thing. And that's how we saw the Japanese honeysuckle. So it's actually a really big tree. However, because it's hollow and the middle, it's actually not as dense. But however, you just have to make some efforts by sawing this tree. And the best way that I've learned from my experience is by cutting in with a 45-degree angle or a 30-degree angle, and that gets the bark, it gets the wood real fast. And let's go back to our presentation, and this is what I'm talking about, the dogwood tree. And actually the dogwood tree is a tree you'll mess up with the honeysuckle. You can see and compare these two photos. So they look really alike, but there's two ways to identify them. And the first one is how they grow out of the soil. Dogwood trees, they grow only one trunk out of the soil. However, with these honeysuckles, as I said before, they grow in bunches, in packs. And the second one is looking at its bark. So this bark is actually made of really, really small little bits. They're like Lego blocks. They're just packed together. So it's actually really, really little bits of bark on these trees, and it's really tougher and rougher than the honeysuckle. You can see the honeysuckle trees are really smooth, but this one, it's really tough. However, you do not want to cut a branch from this tree because it's native, and if you cut one, it doesn't grow as fast as the grapevine, native grapevine grows. So the best way to identify it is first looking at how it grows out of the soil, and second is looking at the bark, the pattern of the bark. And that's actually it, because so I'll still share with you guys about the Little Falls Watershed Alliance. They do bacteria monitoring, they do trash pickup, they do lots and lots of different volunteer work. So actually, if you're interested, just go on their website and sign up for your community. And it's really fun work. You can go and try out. And so when you see these non-native invasive species, you know they're contributing. No, they're like really bad intruders. So they harm the environment. They harm the native plants. And what you want to do is just figure out what kind of non-native invasive species are they. You don't want to go and cut it yourself because it's a violation. Because the only way you can go and cut it by yourself is to get a certificate, a Weed Warrior Level 1 or Level 2 certificate. And you have to go on their website and sign up for a course. You cannot go and clear these trees out by your own. That's just a friendly reminder. And I'll be sharing with you guys a lot of different invasive species later in my next episode or future episodes, because there's really lots of species that you can mess up. They look really similar to each other, and I'll make sure you guys know what you're up to. And that's all for today. Thank you. Have a nice day.